All right, I'll say good morning. Let us begin. So we are continuing in Meretz Hashem this morning in Osnun Ches in Tzidkas Hatzaddik. So if you remember again, the Rebbe began with this concept yesterday, a little bit of a definitional concept. That the definition of a tzaddik is one who does not go ahead and experience temptation in a particular area of life, versus we'll call it, I guess, for lack of a better term, I'm going to use the word Russia, but it's not really what the Rebbe is referring to. There's the tzaddik and the non-tzaddik. So the tzaddik is the one who never experiences a temptation in a particular area, but an area in which I struggle, and an area certainly in which I fall and I have failed, so one cannot refer to themselves or think of themselves as a tzaddik in that particular area. But the Rebbe says something amazing. That's why in life, in any given moment, I can simultaneously be struggling in multiple areas, having difficulty in multiple areas, yet at the same time be considered a tzaddik in multiple other areas. This ability to simultaneously be a tzaddik and a non-tzaddik in any given moment of life is the great dialectic of the Jew. So the Rebbe now gives an example of this. He says, I'm picking up on page Kuf Mem, in the Bifurcated, the right-hand side, the bottom paragraph there, about 5 lines from the bottom. The Inyan Zeh, the Choshev L'Tzadik Rak L'Davar Echad Bilvad, Im Gam L'Gabe Sharha Inyan Nechshav Kirasha. And this idea that I can be considered a tzaddik in one area, even if other areas I am a rasha, who kidarach shekasav harashba b'chidushav benida. So he brings an interesting example of this. So what does the Gemara say? Le'inyan masha amru chazal al ha-gimalim rochvei gimalim shekulam rishoim. Listen to this. The Gemara says, camel drivers. All camel drivers are rishoim. Now what does that mean? Mipnei sha'ovrim al isurei hotza'as zara levatala. Because we'll say, what's the issue with the camel drivers? Camel drivers, right? If you look in footnote Kuf Nun Vav, so he says over here, "Begimar rochvei gimalim asur lechal b'truma." Tanya Hamyachi rochvei gimalim kulam rishon. The Gemara Maseches Nida says those who camel riders are always shayim. Why? B'Rashi rochvei gimalim eveirehem mischamim bebasar hagamal umosiem zera. So Rashi seems to understand over here the nature of riding a camel is that ultimately, again, the aver rubs against the camel, and it could leads to constant, emission of zera, emission of semen. So because of that, they end up wasting an incredible amount of zera. Therefore, again, the Gemara says, because of that, all those donkey drivers are rishayim. Okay. Now watch this. The Gemara goes on. He says, Umaksha Rashba. The Rashba raises a kasha. What's the Rashba's kasha? Shalach ora divrei ha-Gemara l'sosron l'mashav sof kiddushin. But there's another Gemara Maseches Kiddushin. And what does the Gemara say? Left hand kalam birei chasidus. Isa b'mishnah. Shahagimalin ruban ksherim. Both listen to this. The Gemara Maseches Kiddushin says that the gamalin, the camel drivers, the majority of them are ksherim. Righteous people. Why? Hainu mipnei sheparshim lemidbaros lemokum gidudei chayis v'listim v'yireim lenafsham u'mishabrim libam lemokum. So supposed to listen to this. So Rashi says, why is that? Because where do camel drivers have to travel? They have to travel to the deserts, right? And in the desert, they are very much dependent on the Ribono Shel Olam. In the desert, they are exposed to all of the elements. In the desert, they have to deal with all of this uncertainty. So interestingly enough, uncertainty is something which often brings a person closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because I realize at the end of the day, Ein lanu al mi lehishayin ela al avinu shemashamayim. I can depend on no one except for the Ribono Shel Olam. So we'll say, see here these two contrasting Gemaras? On one hand, the Gemara Maseches Nida says, camel drivers, they're all Rishayim. Why? Because as the nature of their profession, nature of riding on the camel all day, so they experience hotza'as zar levatala, wasting of seed. Gemara Maseches Kiddushin, luban ksherim. All right, camel drivers, that is a frum chavra. Why? They're ma'aminim, they're real believers. Why? Because they have to be. Well, there's no atheists in the foxhole. So when you're traveling in vast deserts, right, and you have to rely on finding water here or civilization here, and you realize how fragile life is and how dependent on the Ribono Shel Olam you are, that engenders a certain level of frumkeit and personal piety. So ask the Rashba. So the Rashba says, so what's going on over here? How do you reconcile these two Gemaras? Are the camel drivers Rishayim or are they Ksherim? The Rashba says, this is so profound. The Rashba says it's not a contradiction. Sha'emesi delagabe inyan zeh shalashchasas zera nechshavim rochve hagimalim l'rishayim. In reality, says the Rashba, when it comes to ashchasas zera, wasting of seed, so the gamalin are rishayim. They're rishayim. They commit this avera. However, the Gemara says uvu'ulam bechozos legabe inyan zeh shemeshabrim libam lamakom hey nechshavim la'anashim ksherim. So the Rashba says it's a very simple answer. They are rishayim in one area and tzaddikim in another area. So they're rishayim with this issue of hotzah zeh levatala, but they're tzaddikim because they have incredible amunah. They have incredible belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They dive into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They supplicate. They petition God with a broken heart and incredible intensity. Mipnei shehagdoras tzaddik o rasha eina behechrich koleles es kol prati hamitzvos. So say what the Rashba introduces to us is being a tzaddik or a rasha is not an absolute state. If you ask me in any given moment in life, am I a tzaddik or a rasha? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Yes, I'm a tzaddik and I'm a rasha. I'm a tzaddik in certain areas and I'm a rasha in other areas. So what the Rashba is introducing to us and what Hatzaddik is really building out, I think is one of the most life-affirming lessons. Being a tzaddik, being a rasha, is not an absolute state. It's not either I'm one or the other. Because Rav say the truth is, almost no one fits into that, or at least regular people like us don't fit into those categories. Am I tzaddik or rasha? First of all, it depends on the day. Second of all, it depends on the hour. And even in the same hour, if you look at my life, all the areas, there are areas that I'm doing great in, and then there are areas that I'm really profoundly failing in. So what does that mean? What's my status? Who am I? To which Reb Tzaddik, really developing it from this Rashba, is that at the end of the day, the Rochvei Gimalim can be Rishaim and can be Ksherim in the same breath. How can you say that? Rishaim in this area, Ksherim in this area, and it's not a contradiction. It's a dialectic. It's a conversation. It's a balance. It's two forces that simultaneously find expression inside of me and inside of my persona, my personality. And I will say, it's just not a life-affirming idea, because so many times we think that if we're imperfect, the good that we have is meaningless and insignificant. Like, if I'm going to be a rasha in certain areas, then the fact that I'm a tzaddik in other areas, that means nothing. That means nothing. What is that good for? Right? What is my good matter for if I know that I'm a rasha in areas A, B, and C? What is that? So which Rav says that's not true. That's not true. Everyone lives with this dialectic. Everyone lives with this balance. That yes, isn't incredible? I could simultaneously be a tzaddik in certain areas in life, even though I know full well that unfortunately I'm a rasha in others. So we'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up now again. At least we see where Reb Tzaddik gets this from. The concept finds its expression in the stira in Meseches Nida, or between Nida and Kiddushin, and the teretz of the Rashba, and the Mir Tashem will develop it more in the days to come. Shkach, I will say.